Good morning, Get Wrecked for Recovery crew. It is 9:30 and it's already getting hot. So I sat down last night and started kind of planning my route out to try and figure out how the coast-to-coast bicycle trail was going to work. It's going to put me way out of the way to actually take the first leg of it. So what I'm going to do is, instead of going from Playa Linda Beach and traveling across up north and back down south to Wekiwa Springs, I'm just going to cut straight through Orlando and go up and stay near Wekiwa Springs tonight, and then take the rest of the trail down. That should cut about 2 days off of my journey. And I just want to make absolutely sure that I can be in Fort Myers by the 20th, when I need to be there to meet up with Ends of the Earth Cycling for their Key West Bike Ride 2020. So I say all that to say this: I am not going to go back north and back east to Playa Linda to start the bike trail. I'm just going to go ahead and cut across to Orlando to REI. I'm going to get those sandals, the Shimano sandals that clip in. Unfortunately, the shoes that I have that I bought secondhand, they were very inexpensive. I mean, $10 is what I paid for them. But they're starting to fall apart. The rubber, they're mountain bike style bicycle shoes, and so there's like a rubbery plastic pad on the bottom that holds the metal SPD5 cleat, and that's the cleat that clips into my pedals to help me pedal more efficiently. That rubber is starting to disintegrate, and so when I pull up, it's very spongy. It's causing less efficiency than I'm even getting with my Converse on. So I'm going to ride in the Converse today. I'm going to skip out on the clip-in for this portion of the ride. And hopefully I can get to REI pretty quickly. It doesn't look like it's going to be too far away from where I am. I'm directly east of Orlando. So I'm going to go ahead and start that ride, and you guys will see more of that in just a little bit. Love you guys. See you later. Alright, so I stopped here at a gas station between Titusville and Orlando because the sun started coming up, and I was like, man, I'm just missing something. What am I missing? My sunglasses. This is now the second pair that I've lost. So back to old gas station sunglasses. I got a little cheap $6 pair of sunglasses here at the gas station. Got some Gatorade, and I'm gonna sit down here and rest. It's getting hot again today. Anyway, I gotta figure out a method for this. I'm really good with methods at home. I know where everything is. I know where I've put it. But being out on a bicycle where I don't have anything, like no method figured out yet. You'd think after 700 miles of pedaling that I'd have this thing figured out. I do not. And so, anyway, here goes nothing. Alright, so I stopped here at another gas station. It is hot. It's like 82 degrees in Florida, but it feels like 110 on the bicycle. The good news is I'm kind of putting myself into the wind when I pedal. When I stand still, it gets really hot. Anyway, so I stopped here at this gas station and talked to this lady at the register named Gretchen. And this is in Christmas Park, Florida. And so we get to talking about redeeming Eden, and she tells me that a girl actually overdosed in her bathroom, right here at the gas station, behind the locked door. Gretchen heard her fall and hit the ground. Her and her manager went over to the door, had to bust it down. By the time they got in there, she was blue. They had to give her mouth to mouth until the paramedics arrived. Paramedics took her off, gave her Narcan here, took her off, and within 2 hours she was back here at the gas station asking where her purse and her drugs were. So this is what I'm trying to bring awareness to, is the fact that, you know, time and time again we get bound by these drugs, bound by these addictions, and it's not necessary. Jesus has made a way to make us free from all these addictions and things. And if you're watching this video and you're bound to something, just understand that there's freedom in Jesus. That's all that this tour is about, is bringing awareness that recovery options are available. You don't have to stay drowning in the things that have you bound. You can get out, you can get clean, and you can live clean and sober and happy. You know, there's Celebrate Recoveries, there's churches, there's rescue missions, there's so many places where you can go to get help. If you're addicted and you're watching this channel, drop a comment. I will do everything I can to find you a place to go so that you can get the help you need. Anyway, it's hot. I just stopped at that airboat place that you saw, and I picked up an alligator and held it. And the guy who recorded the video, unfortunately, did not press the record button. So, didn't get the video of that, but I'm sure I'm gonna see another alligator on this trip, and when I do, it's for my 7-year-old boy. So I just started looking up campgrounds near the REI that I'm gonna be going to, and right near the Coast to Coast bike trail where I'm hooking back up with it is a place called Wekiwa Springs, and it's a blue spring, Florida blue spring. It's a state park, and they have campsites available for tonight. The primitive site was only $5. So, I got 35 miles to go to get there, about 25 to get to REI. I'm gonna go pick up those sandals, head up there, and hopefully I still got enough daylight left to be able to get some video of these blue springs. I'm so glad I finally got to get to another blue spring. Anyway, you guys will see more of that in just a little bit. Love you. See you later. All right, so I just turned right off of State Road 50 onto the Little Econ Greenway, and I'll be able to take that about 9 miles up to the REI in Orlando, which is my next stop. I stopped here. It's beautiful. A little lake, beautiful oak trees back here behind me, nice little shady spot, beautiful little trail, and it looks like it goes all the way up north through Orlando, so I'm gonna follow it. This is where Google Maps has taken me by bicycle today. It looks wonderful. It looks flat. Most of Orlando's been flat. State Road 50 was completely flat all the way to here, but it was super hot. Just no trees. You know, I'm used to Mobile, Alabama, all the pine trees kind of shading the road. And you only get the hot sun on the roadway in the middle of the daytime. But this was sun up to sundown hot. So I'm glad to be on a little bit of a shadier path, and hopefully I make it to REI within the hour. That should be around 5 o'clock Eastern. And then my next step will be Wekiwa Springs, where I found a $5 campsite for the night. I can't wait to see what that looks like. They said that the springs are located in the park, so I'm excited to see how the whole park looks when I get there. Anyway, just wanted to let you guys know what was up. I love you. I'll see you later. All right, so the last little bit of video that you guys saw on that cobblestone road is coming into Winter Park, Florida, toward the REI. So Google, I trust Google 100% of the time, except for when it sends me entirely out of the way on roads that there's no reason a bicycle should be on. See, when I search on Google Maps for my route by bicycle, so far in less populated areas, it's sent me down roads on highways that have a bicycle lane. Well, today it took me all through Orlando where there was no bicycle lane, but there were sidewalks on both sides of the road. And sidewalks when you're bike packing are terrible. Only because you have to come off the sidewalk onto people's driveway, back off the driveway onto the sidewalk, off the sidewalk across a road, back up onto the sidewalk. And so it just jars you all day. Not to mention, if roots are in under the sidewalk, if the sidewalk is uneven, constant jarring. It jarred me all day. It took me a long way out of the way of where I could have rode on 2 highways that had bike lanes. So I'm going to try to better map from now on and make absolutely sure that, like, I'm not going onto roads. I'll have to look at the satellite image and everything and make sure that the roads have bike lanes before I go down some of these routes, because I was expecting to be able to go, 12 to 15 miles an hour on a road path, and I ended up having to go 3 to 4, which is why it's so dark for this video. I ended up making it to Wekiwa Springs State Park in Florida right at dark. I actually set my tent up in the dark, and I have my flashlight for my bicycle on me right now so that I could record the end of this video for the day. Man, it's the last 13 miles of my day. I just rode in the street, even though there wasn't a bike lane, because I had to get from REI in Winter Park to Wekiwa Springs before they shut down at 7:30. And by bicycle, Google was telling me it was going to take me like an hour and 15 minutes. And so I just had to stomp on it. And I was like, I can't do the sidewalks or else I'm not going to make it to check in on time. So I got here, I checked in. I ended up having to upgrade to the family campground instead of the $5 primitive site, because the primitive site would have been 3 miles on paved roads and then a mile on sugar sand before I could have even got to where I could sit my tent up, with no water, no power, and really not very much light. This flashlight on my bike I use as a strobe during the daytime, so I don't want to kind of, trust tomorrow going out that I'm not going to be able to charge it or have it available for use. So yeah, do I trust Google Maps? 100% of the time, except for when it sends me down sidewalks or cobblestone roads. When I got onto that greenway, the greenway was wonderful, but it didn't take me all the way up to REI. Now, it did take me through like some really, really nice places that when it's not rush hour, 5 o'clock in Orlando, people going through Winter Park, I'm sure it would have been wonderful. But it was just so congested in this big city, and it was so hard to bike today. I ended up making it 62 miles. The first really half of the day was wonderful. It was hot. The sun was shining down on me. There weren't any trees to block the sun. Getting onto the greenway and the sidewalk streets was wonderful because I ended up getting shade. But I ended up, just like I said, I got beat to death today on the last half of the ride. And then, having to pedal essentially 15 miles an hour. I ended up setting a 40K record on my Garmin while riding this today for the second half. So unreal. Yeah, Google's good anywhere where it's not like a big major city where you're gonna have to be on sidewalks, rural areas, those kind of things. But on these city streets, just kind of stick to the highways that have bicycle lanes for sure. I wouldn't necessarily trust Google the whole entire time. So I'm at Wekiwa Springs State Park in Florida. It's just north and west of Orlando. And Wekiwa Springs is a blue spring here. So since it was dark when I got here, I wasn't able to see it. But that'll be on tomorrow's video. So I'm going to go ahead and start cutting the video for you guys tonight. As usual, I love you, and I'll see you later.